In this video, we'll be adjusting the clutch and cable on a Harley Davidson. These steps will apply to all Harley Davidson models equipped with a cable-driven clutch, except for the Sportsters. They're a little different design and require a few different steps. It's important to always have your clutch and cable properly adjusted. Having your cable too tight can keep the clutch from fully engaging, which results in premature wear on the clutch components. Having it too loose will keep the clutch from disengaging all the way when you pull the lever in, which also results in premature wear. It's also important to have the correct amount of free play in your clutch pack to allow it to expand when it gets warm. Today we're working on a 1996 Softail Fat Boy, and we've got it up on a lift to make the job a little easier. Regardless of whether you've got a lift or just a stand, you need to have the bike sitting straight up and down. We do this so the oil in the primary case doesn't leak out after we've removed the derby cover. First step is to locate the inline adjuster, and you can find this towards the front end of the frame, usually covered with a rubber boot. Go ahead and slide that boot off to reveal the jam nut and the adjuster. Then you want to break that jam nut loose using a 9/16 wrench and a 1/2 inch wrench for the adjuster. Go ahead and thread that nut up. Then we want to create as much slack in the cable as we can. We do that by threading the adjuster back onto itself. As you can see, this cable is pretty loose now. The next step is to remove the circlip on the bottom of the clutch lever pivot pin. When that's off, you can pull that pin and remove the lever from the housing. We're also going to remove the pin holding the cable to the lever so we can clean everything up. Wipe off the cable end and the lever housing. Then we'll spray a little lube on a rag and use that to clean the lever, the pivot pin, and the cable pin. Put a little grease on each of those parts. Then we can lube up our cable before we go ahead and reassemble everything. Slide the cable back into the lever and install the pin. And then you can reinstall the lever into the housing along with the pivot pin and the circlip. Now we can move down to the derby cover. Go ahead and pull each bolt holding it on, and some are going to have 3 bolts while others have 5. We're using a Torx 27 to do this. Once you've got all those out, you can pull that derby cover off, and that'll reveal the adjuster screw and the jam nut. The first thing we need to do is break that jam nut loose, and we're doing that with an 11/16 offset wrench. Once you have it loose, go ahead and thread it out a little bit. Now we're ready to make our adjustment. It's important that you do this with the bike cold. If you set this with the bike warm, your adjustment's going to be off. So we'll take a 7/32 Allen wrench and first back the adjuster screw out a little bit to clean up the threads. Then you want to slowly thread it in towards the bike. You may have to back that jam nut off a little more so it doesn't interfere. Continue to thread it in until you start to feel it seat, as you see this one doing. You'll start to feel it tighten up. Once you reach that point, you'll want to back it off a 1/2 to full turn from where it started to seat. We're going to go a 1/2 turn out. Doing this will give the clutch the correct amount of free play. So now that it's in the correct spot, you want to run that jam nut back in, and we're going to torque it down, anywhere between 72 to 120 inch-pounds. We've got our wrench set to 90 inch-pounds. Now we can reinstall our inspection cover. It's a good idea to replace the gasket, but not always necessary. You want to torque these bolts anywhere between 72 to 108 inch-pounds. The last step is to readjust the cable. You want to back the adjuster off while paying attention to the lever free play. You want to have anywhere from a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch of free play, so after you adjust it, you want to run the lever a few times and then check the free play. And you'll do this by pulling the cable away from the housing. That's where you measure the free play. You can see we've got about an 1/8 inch here, so we're good to go. Now we can tighten up the jam nut on the adjuster and slide the rubber boot back over it. And that's all there is to adjusting the clutch and cable on your Harley Davidson. If you have any questions about any of the steps you saw in this video, feel free to give us a call at 1-800-336-5437. Rocky Mountain ATV MC carries a wide variety of aftermarket parts, accessories, and apparel for you and your Harley Davidson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you out on the road.